So that's the kind of content setup. Walk me through, like, I am, let's say it's not my first time on a snowmobile. Let's say I'm like, I backcountry a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I know how to get on edge and all that. Walk me through, like, what a regular day would look like if I choose to outfit with SledWyo. I show up in the morning. Like, walk me just through what a normal day would look like.
Yeah, so it kind of depends on where. So we don't offer lodging right now, but it depends on where you're staying. So usually what we do is we have a shop in Sheridan, and we'll either have our clients come in the night before, sign paperwork, and then we'll kind of go over like what kind of gear they got, what kind of sled they got, and we do a safety meeting in the shop prior to going up to the mountain, just like a brief safety meeting. And then once we get up on the mountain, we kind of evaluate where we're going to take the clients, and I kind of get a feel for their skills. We always ask people before they book what their skill level is, and that gives our guides an idea of like what kind of terrain to take them to. But once we get up on the mountain, I still evaluate their skills, because some people lie about their skills.
Yeah.
You know, like they either under. A lot of people.
Like, send me some video clips.
Yeah, most of the time it's the opposite. Actually, people are better than they say they are.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, dude, you put beginner. It's like, you're clearly experienced. Let's go have some fun. You know, and like.
Yeah, because you don't want to show up and be that guy or girl, right?
Yeah. Most people are pretty honest. Yeah. So, and then we'll do a more in-depth safety meeting. We'll do our avalanche beacon checks and all that stuff, and talk about like just. Like, hey, I've got like sign language that I give clients. Like, hey, this is my sign language. If I do this, this means that don't go over there. That kind of thing.
Is this secret?
No, it's not secret.
It's like a secret sign language that you do?
No, it's not secret.
You don't want to give out your signs?
No, it's just, I'm like, hey, there's boulders here. Like, take it easy. Like, if I had to go like this, like, hey, just, if I wave my hands, I'm like, hey, this is a boulder field. I wouldn't do a hard pow turn here because like you might hit something. So just stuff like that. But I just usually.
You got to protect the sleds, right?
Oh, yeah. It's always about the sleds. I don't care. You get I just want the sleds to be good so we can keep riding.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of the basic layout. We just go over our safety meetings, and then we just go have fun depending on, and I always ask clients typically, like, we have clinics, but even on the guided tours, we're teaching people.
If there's a certain...
Yeah, I'm like, hey, is there anything you want to work on today?
Trick or technique or something that we want to refine or something?
Yeah, and that gives me an idea. Like, they're like, hey, I want to learn re-entries today. Then I'm like kind of scouting some spots that we can practice re-entries in a safe, controlled, like, so I'm not taking them above a cliff. You know, if they lose their sled's gone.
Yeah.
I'm, like, looking for stuff like, hey, here's a good spot. Let's practice. And then I show them. And then I teach them, and then they try it, and then we just repeat that cycle until they start to kind of get it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's kind of what we do. We just take them out, and sometimes people don't want to learn; they're pretty experienced, so we just go have fun.
Yeah.
But
so, what would you say like your guys' number one selling point? Is it because you're going to be getting just really cool content? Is it because we're going to teach you guys some stuff? Is it because we're going to take you to the best snow? Like, what would you say the number one selling point is for you guys?
That makes you guys different.
Well, first of all, we start with our location there in the Bighorn Mountains. I like to tell people there's places that are way better riding, in my opinion. But the Bighorns are amazing when they get good snow. I love riding there. I grew up there. And but the one advantage we have is that we're so close to the Midwest relative to some of the other places that are also amazing riding.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'll say. I'll never say we have the best riding in North America, and I'll never say we have the best guides, because there's people crushing it everywhere. And we have good riding. We have great riding. But people can almost day trip it from Minnesota.
The proximity, to get into the mountains from the Midwest, right?
We're the closest to the upper Midwest. We're the first stop. You have to drive by the Bighorns basically to go farther west. So that's the one advantage we got. So if the snow's good, it's like they can make a last minute trip.
Get more days on the snow.
Absolutely, yeah. They don't have to plan a 23-hour drive to go ride and take time off work. They can almost do it in a weekend, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And even if they have been to the Bighorns, like, you've grown up there, so you know every single spot pretty much.
Yeah, every nook and cranny. We're nerds, man.
Been there,
We study the area so hard, and that's what we tell people. Like, we have clients that have been riding the Bighorns for 20 plus years, but they want to come out with us anyway.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see where we go, which I always joke that we're going to blindfold you into the zone and then blindfold you out of the zone so you don't steal my spots. But there's so much area that we have. Yeah, we're just kind of nerds. Like, we study the mountains like crazy.
Even outside of winter, right? Like, you guys are exploring, exploring in the summertime. I see a lot of the content you guys post. I think that's super important. to know what's under the snow, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've been here spring, summer, fall, winter. I know, like, this is a waterfall cliff down this drainage. We don't want to mess with this because you've been there hiking through there or whatever in the.
Yeah. And that's
you know?
another advantage I'll tell people too. Like our clients that have been riding before and they just want to hire a guide service is like, well, I'm here in the summer and like there's places not to go in the Bighorns for sure. And I'm like, yeah, why? Sometimes when I see reviews online of people that had a bad experience in the Bighorns, I'm like, well, where'd you go? And they tell me, I'm like, well, no kidding. Like, of course you had a bad experience. I've never rode there. I've lived there my whole life. You know, it's like there's wrong places to go. It's not epic everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's one huge advantage. Like if you just try to go like self-guided and you just look at a map, you're going to be like, oh, well, it's all mountains. It should be all good. But there's not. There's certain places that aren't good. It might not have the elevation or whatever, you know. So as guides, I've been there, done that. I've made the mistakes. I've taken clients into zones before. And I'm like, well, this wasn't too great. Probably won't ever come back here. I'm going to go somewhere else. So
Yeah. And someone coming in for 1 or 2 days, you really don't have time to figure that out.
Right. Yeah.
While it's going on, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's definitely an advantage of a guide service is like they know what's good and what's not. Because if you just look at a map or you look at Google Earth, you're not going to know if that zone is actually really good or if it's crap, you know. So
yeah, unfortunately, Onyx Off-Road doesn't yet tell you this is a banger zone.
I'm kind of glad it doesn't.
They probably shouldn't do that, right?
They shouldn't do that. I don't want them to tell people where the good spots are.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I definitely use Onyx.
Banger
I love Onyx,
zone right here. Just show me the banger zones.
Yeah.
That would be
that would be
a
detrimental to guide
overlay.
services.
Yeah, for sure.